Hello everyone, so here I'm back again with another Escalation Tier 10 video. This time I'm gonna be playing Stranded Tanka. Let me show you my build real quick. I'm using 4-piece striker, all pieces with echo, critical hit damage along with the backpack and the chest piece. I'm using Exodus glove because these things are great for solo play, and Sheska knee pads with echo and almost god roll DPS stats. I'm also using double military on K46, both weapons with echo, critical hit chance and frenzy. That way I can deal with the variety pack damage debuff. I'm also using a quick step, a reviver hype, a decoy, and the gunner specialization. For my seasonal modifier, I already have it maxed out. I'm using the invincible active modifier along with munitions belt, contagion, and surge drive passive modifiers. And for my stats, here are all the sources for critical hit chance. I have 186.3% critical hit damage and a sum of 201.5% on weapon damage plus LMG damage. So yeah, let's start with the mission. Now, before I start, thank you so much, guys, for the 1,000 subscribers. I'm very excited for the new milestone, and I wouldn't be able to reach this milestone without your support, guys. So again, thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been giving me in the last few months. And yeah, I definitely have some pretty crazy ideas that I want to share in the future too. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Now for this first encounter, we can just stay on the back of the room. There's gonna be one cover that covers our full height of the character, and from there we shouldn't have too much issue dealing with the first four enemies from the beginning enemy wave. From there we can open the garage door, and I suggest that you stay right outside the garage because that way we can get some pretty good line of sight with the enemies. If you get one enemy with one for all, even though I have mentioned already that the talent is both bugged on how the damage reduction works and also possibly bugged on the drop rate things, I still gotta say it's a pretty good mutator to fight against. Like, you can spread a ton of damage to the enemies. Like in this part right here, I decided to push pretty aggressively towards the left sides because I really wanted to kill most of the enemies with the one for all spread damage. I'm aware that I'm getting less that I'm probably getting less prototype drops from the spread damage thing, but still, like, it's a really fun mutator to fight against. Don't get me wrong, I really like it. So yeah, now talking a bit about the mission about Stranded Tanker. So again, not the quickest mission to complete for the escalation completion rewards, but I'm actually surprised at just how consistent the mission is. Like, there's definitely some parts of the mission where I think that you don't have that much pieces of cover, but even still, like, the strategy that I came up with for this solo play, it's, I think, for the most part pretty consistent. Like, this next room, for example, is an example of what I'm talking about. So normally on heroic, I even struggle a bit on trying to fight the enemies on the lower floor, but for escalation, after testing a little bit, I found that fighting from the left hallway where I'm currently standing at is pretty much the best way to, at least for me, deal with this room over here. Just make sure that you don't aggro the enemies before you get in position right where I'm currently standing at. Try to drop a decoy on the lower floor before starting the fight, and from here you should have a pretty good line of sight with most of the enemies that are gonna be on the room. Both the enemies on the back of the room on the second floor, that can be a pretty annoying spawn point to deal with, and as well as most of the enemies that are going to be on the lower floor. Now, with that said, you just got to be careful with the our left flank. Some enemies can climb off a ladder and hide behind the columns. Almost always those enemies are going to be the drone operator guys from the cleaners. But still, you got to be careful with the flank. Like, I have had some instances where I can get up to 3-4 enemies on this side, and it can get pretty messy to deal with. But anyways, here's gear crate number 1 that you can find in this mission. I haven't counted the gear crates. I believe there are 8 or 9, not so sure. But anyways, you can find the gear crate number 1 right over there. I'm going to be grabbing my prototype drops before continuing along with the mission. And my LMG ammo drops, of course. And after you finish grabbing all the stuff, you can interact with the button to continue along with the mission. Let's get those barrels down. And once the animation finishes, we can open the door. So yeah, I'm just glad to do a Warlords of New York mission that it's not like Wall Street or the Tombs. Like, This mission is pretty chill overall to farm. Although I'm not a big fan of like the seasonal event thing, it makes line of sight a little bit difficult. There's gear crate number 2, by the way. We can find it on the little hallway on the left, on the dead end. And yeah, talking about the seasonal event thing, like I really like farming it, but again, just like with the Kitsubeni event, I don't like that you can get some enemies and especially like the change environment in the middle of a mission, and it can make aiming at the enemies a little bit more difficult than I would have liked to. I mean, luckily, we only get like one DLC mission per escalation rotation pool if they are part of the rotation pool, but still, not a big fan of trying to fight in the middle of a sandstorm for these escalation runs. They don't make it harder, but I just don't like it. But anyways, now once you deal with the first wave of enemies, first make sure that you have around 700 LMG bullets for this encounter. And we are gonna be fighting from the left side right over here. What I like about this part is that we can get a pretty good line of sight with all of the enemies that are gonna be coming from the boat on the back of the room, as well as get a good line of sight with both drone operators and the mortar thing from the cleaners, the one that can lock you in place with the fire riots thing. So anyways, if you get one of those mortar shots to fall right on you where you're taking cover, or a drone is about to drop some bombs where you're currently standing at, you can drop down from where you're at and you can use the piece of cover that you have on the north side. But yeah, I mean, the idea of with this strategy for this objective is to just deal with most of the enemies, and once they're not spawning anymore, you can continue along with the next cooling pump. That's especially important for this objective right here. As soon as I start interacting with the cooling pump, I'm gonna start running towards my piece of cover, drop a decoy as soon as the enemies spawn, and from here I'm gonna be going back to my vantage point to deal with all of the enemies. And yeah, as I said, it's a pretty good place to fight against. Also, the cleaners are in general a pretty chill faction to deal with outside of their drone things that can be pretty annoying. And yeah, for this part, it's going to be around 2 enemy waves that you have to deal with. Once you deal with the 2 enemy waves, you won't get any more enemies spawning on this on this part right here. So you can do the rest of the objective and continue along with the mission. There's one more enemy left. I'm gonna be looking for them. Oh no, never mind. That was the last enemy. Managed to kill them with the one for all. As I said, if it wasn't bug, I would have loved this mutator. Even though we have the damage reduction thing and things can get a little bit difficult for some of the final boss rooms. I believe you're gonna be seeing it in this run because Conley got one for all, and she started giving 60% damage reduction to all enemies that were nearby her, which were the majority. So yeah, things got a little bit hectic at the end. So anyways, once you finish with the objective, you're gonna find one more enemy. It's always going to be a rusher with a shield, and after you kill them, we can continue along with the mission. Now once you reach this part, you're only gonna be finding 3 more enemies on solo, and we are gonna be taking them out before we can continue along with the mission. Once you kill them, I suggest that you fill out your LMG ammo, or you have at least around 600 LMG ammo, so that we can deal with the first boss of this mission. I'm gonna start interacting with the cooling pump, and I'm gonna be emptying out both of my second LMG while I'm waiting for the characters to stop speaking. Also make sure, if it's possible, to destroy the little explosive thing that I was walking nearby, like I just did. Once the boss come out, I suggest that you start focusing all of your fire towards the weak point on the right. If you do enough damage, you should be able to make them take out their mask, and that way you have an easy way to kill the heavy cleaner guy. Also, along with the boss, you're gonna be getting around 3 enemies that should be accompanying the boss on this beginning enemy wave. But they shouldn't be too much of an issue. I always like to start shooting the boss, and as soon as the mortar or the debris thing is about to drop nearby me, I go downstairs and deal with the other 2 enemies, and if the boss is a little bit too close to me, I stay on the south corner of on the south side of the room and just deal with the boss from a safe distance. And from there, the other enemy wave shouldn't be too much of an issue. So anyways, gonna grab my LMG ammo, And we are gonna continue along to where we can find gear crates number 3 and 4. Now, to unlock the access to gear crates number 3 and 4, well, the third one, we can just destroy a little weak point. You should be able to see it on the upper side of the screen, upper left side. But for number 4, we need to do a little mini game or Easter egg. We can do it by interacting with this button, and I suggest that you stand right where I'm staying at, and we're gonna find this machine that is gonna start shooting some baseball balls. So from this position right here, you pretty much have to follow along the ball and try to shoot as many balls as you can. If you shoot enough balls, you are gonna be able to unlock the door towards gear crate number 4. And if you don't get enough, if you don't destroy enough baseball balls, then you will only be able to open gear crate number 3, but not 4. But again, I mean, once you get the hang of it and where to stand, in this case on the little 2 white squares where I'm currently standing at, that should be enough to, that should be a pretty good enough position to like shoot the baseball balls. So anyways, once you finish up the minigame, we can destroy the yellow box to get access to gear crate number 3, which I showed previously, and gear crate number 4, which is going to only open up if you destroy enough balls. I said balls way too many times. Balls, balls, balls. So yeah, from here we can continue looking with the mission. We're gonna find a single enemy wave of 4 enemies. The enemy on the upper floor is always going to be a sniper, and it can be pretty annoying to deal with. For stuff like One for All, at least makes it a little bit easier to spread the damage against the sniper, but still it can be pretty annoying trying to shoot that last guy, especially if you are constantly suppressing them with your automatic fire weapons. Luckily it wasn't that much of an issue for this time, but still. Once you deal with the 4 enemies from this wave, we can continue along towards the next room. Let's open the door. And now as you drop down, we are going to be going towards the back of the room, towards the, what is it, the west side, I believe. We're going to be hiding behind this yellow box. Now, don't do what I did right there. Don't shoot your weapon to alert the enemies. The idea is that you go to the box, you hide behind there, the cleaners won't notice you. You drop a decoy on the center of the room where I drop my decoy, and once the decoy is about to drop, you can start shooting at the enemies. Prioritize the enemies that are on the upper floor before they start taking cover. And if you want to make them stand up, shoot at the red barrels that are right next to both of the pieces of cover. This piece of cover is good enough to be able to deal with most of the enemies, and even though it is not the longest piece of cover right here, we don't have to worry about something like hot foot. So that's pretty chill overall. Also, sometimes the last 2 enemies from this enemy wave, they like to spawn on the upper floor for where we have to continue along through the mission. But anyways, before you continue along, we're gonna jump this piece of cover, and from here we can find gear crate number 5. It's going to be a cleaner faction cache, and you're gonna need a cleaner faction key to open said crate. After you get the crate, we can open the door and go down this ladder. Now in the middle of this hallway, you're gonna find some pieces of wood on the wall, and right over here we can find a yellow box. Shoot it with any of your weapons. This door will open, and we can get access to gear crate number 6 right here. Let's continue along. Then for this room, we are gonna be getting access to gear crate number 7. To access the gear crate, we have to run towards the north side of the room on the lower floor, and we can find this bulb right here. We're gonna interact with it. From here, we're gonna climb these things to get to the middle floor. And we're gonna be running towards all this hallway to find the second yellow bulb right over here. Interact with it, and from here we can jump over here rappel up to the upper floor, and to the left side, we are gonna be unlocking this door after interacting with both of the yellow bulbs. And from here, we're gonna be finding gear crate number 7, if I remember correctly. I don't remember how I was counting. I can't count. So anyway, so we can continue along with the mission. And now for this part right here, it's a little bit weird for solo play. We're only gonna find 5 enemies on this whole room. The first 3 enemies, they're gonna be spawning right as we jump down. As soon as you jump down, have your decoy ready, throw it there, and you're gonna find 3 enemies. The first enemy is always going to be a rusher. The second and the third enemies are always going to be heavy enemies. The second heavy enemy is going to spawn as soon as you kill this guy. Now you can use whatever strategy you want. You can shoot at the weak point on their back to make them take out their mask. You can use something like Ravenous to get increased damage to armor plates or whatever. But because I want to finish this as soon as possible, I'm just gonna shoot them with my LMGs. From here we can keep interacting with the bridges thing. And as I said, there's only 2 more enemies in this whole room that we have to worry about. We're gonna find this armor crate right here. I highly advise that you interact with it because we're gonna need full ammo for the boss fight, and the ammo crate that's right before the boss encounter. If we try to empty out both of our LMGs, we are gonna be alerting the enemies, and we have to take on a very long door opening animation before we can access said room. It's a pretty risky animation, and because of that, I highly advise that you fill out your ammo before. With this double LMG strat, as you can already see, I'm using the first LMG to kill the fourth enemy, actually, from this room. And the 5th enemy is going to be rappelling down right at the end. Right over there, where it says top deck. I'm gonna be using my second LMG. And I'm gonna be killing that enemy. And before we get into the final room, we're gonna take a little detour and we can find gear crate number 8, I believe. It's again a cleaner's faction cache, and we're gonna need a cleaner's faction key to open said cache. Now with that, we can open the door and we're gonna be throwing a decoy right in the middle, and we're gonna be fighting from this left building. This is the only building that has a little roof, so that we don't have to worry too much about getting affected by the flamethrower right in the middle of the room. And also, we can cut line of sight with Conley once she comes out, or once we make her come out, by the way. So yeah, she's right there. Now, I realized at that moment that she had one for all. And the problem is she's giving 60% damage reduction to all of the enemies that are spawning nearby her, which are most of the enemies. So yeah, things got a little bit hectic trying to kill the enemies with reduced damage, but you can manage without too much issue if you stay over here. From this position, we should be able to destroy the first weak point from the fire tower crane thing. And we're gonna be dealing with the second weak point as soon as we deal with most of the enemies. Once we are not getting that much enemy fire, we can run out from the little building, run over here and destroy the second weak point. I didn't realize, but there was another enemy with one for all nearby, so the weak point took an eternity to destroy. Thank you, Massive. From here, you're gonna be getting, I believe, 3 more enemy waves before we can continue along with the mission. We are gonna be killing those enemy waves first. We don't want to interact with either the yellow bulb or try to shoot the explosive gas that is gonna be getting around the yellow bulb. Whatever thing you do, either shoot the gas or interact with the bulb, you're gonna make the gas move towards where Conley is, and we don't want to do that still. We don't want to accidentally trigger the boss fight for this room. Before we trigger the boss fight, what we first want to do is we want to get as much LMG ammo as possible. I decided that I was only going to use the ammo drops that were on the floor. And from there, I'm gonna be interacting with the yellow balls. Now, before shooting the explosive gas where Conley is to make her spawn, what I'm gonna be doing, I mean, I didn't realize I came, but what I'm gonna be doing is you want to get right near this door so that you can pass the contagion passive modifier towards Conley. By using the contagion modifier, we are gonna feed her immune system so that she can take 40% increased damage to all of our bullets. Now, if you combine that with the one for all mutator that Conley has, I'm pretty much gonna make this battle a piece of cake. I'm gonna be spreading all the damage to all of the enemies that are gonna be spawning while doing around 2 million hit points per shot. So yeah, I'm doing a ton of damage. And if for some reason things get a little bit tricky, I suggest that you stay right on the corner of this building so that you can cut the line of sight with Conley and you don't have to worry about getting sticky with the sticky gun, the thing that she's using. Even if the sticky explosive doesn't explode on you, the actual device itself is strong enough that she will pretty much leave you on Hellgate. So yeah, again, thank you, Massive. Things are a little bit busted on Escalation Tier 10 sometimes. So yeah. And after you kill all the enemies and Conley, that should be it for Stranded Tanker. As I said, it's probably one of the easiest WoNY missions from the Escalation rotation pool, thank God. And yeah, I mean, not the best mission to farm Escalation completion rewards, but it's still a fun mission to farm for stuff. So anyways, that's all for me for this video. If you like the video, you can like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I'm gonna be releasing an incursion video pretty soon. I already have the footage, I have to edit it down, and yeah, I won't have a mission summary for this mission because of those stupid Dust Devils. So again, thanks Massive. I hope we can have a way to toggle that thing off for next time. But anyways, bye bye for now guys, see you in the next video, bye.